We just got 26 brand new Mega Evolutions thanks to Pokémon Legends Z-A, and this new set had some absurdly powerful Pokémon that we're likely going to see for quite a while moving forward into the competitive scene. Now, I've already done the top 5 worst new Mega Evolutions, so now it's time to do the top 5 best new Mega Evolutions. Now, disclaimer up front, we do not have the abilities yet, so the order of this list is subject to change when we find them out, but based on the base Pokemon and the new stat spreads, it's pretty easy to tell which Pokemon stood out from the rest. Now, with all that out of the way, let's kick it off with my honorable mention, Mega Greninja. Now, Mega Greninja is just an awesome upgrade, but it doesn't quite crack into the top 5 list for me, and that's because of its lack of bulk. It requires a little bit more careful positioning than the rest of the Pokemon. Between 72, 77, 81, and some pretty common weaknesses like against like Raging Bolt, Flutter Mane, or something like Rillaboom, like there's a lot of Pokemon that can actually threaten Greninja pretty hard, and it doesn't even really need the speed stat to do that, which is why Greninja didn't quite crack my top 5 list, but it's still really good. 142 is one of the most absurd speeds we've seen in the game, and if you look at the top list, it actually makes it, I think it's in the top 20. It's tied with Dragapult, which is crazy cool. In lower tier formats, being tied with Dragapult actually means that Mega Greninja is gonna probably be tied for the fastest Pokemon in those formats. I should rephrase that. It's gonna be tied for the fastest meta relevant Pokemon. Like obviously Electrode's faster, but that's not really relevant to what I'm talking about here. In this case too, for Mega Greninja, I actually love the hybrid attacker because it actually just got Nasty Plot and it already had Swords Dance. So now it has options to set up with both, and it can capitalize on the 125, 133, which are pretty much straight down the middle. So you have options either way, and it has great stab moves for both options. I just think Mega Greninja has a lot going for it. And like I said earlier, the downside is its frailty. You're gonna have to find a way to position this right to get through a lot of targets. So with that is why Mega Greninja makes my honorable mention, but it does not make the top 5. So now let's get right to number 5. At number 5, I have Mega Dragonite. Now this might actually be a pretty unpopular opinion. I know a lot of people were crossed with the special attack swing, but I'm here to tell you that that's exactly why Mega Dragonite is actually so special. And really it has to do mostly with the fact that it was a Gen 1 Pokemon, and they weirdly overtuned a lot of Gen 1 Pokemon to have really crazy movesets even when they didn't have stats to back it up. Dragonite used to only have a base 100 special attack, but it had moves like Blizzard, it got Ice Beam, it got Fire Blast, I think it got Thunder. Let's see, yeah, it does have Thunder, it has Thunderbolt, Weather Ball, it gets Hurricane, Hydro Pump. I mean, if you didn't know any better, you would think this was a special attacker based on that moveset. And so now with that 145 special attack, we actually can take advantage of all of these things. And one of Dragonite's worst aspects before it got the Mega Evolution was its lack of flying type moves. So for physical flying type moves, we have Dual Wing Beat, and we have Aerial Ace, we have Fly, but like Aerial Ace, the damage is so low. I mean, you don't really want to use that for your stab move. And Dual Wing Beat, while it hits that 80 base power, it's great into Focus Sash. That 90% accuracy actually hurts so much in so many games, and you can lose just straight up off missing that right away. So now that we're switching to a special attacker, we now have Hurricane, which already makes Dragonite have an exemplary stab move. And this is why I actually, just to double back a little bit, I think Mega Dragonite is going to be the most successful on dedicated rain teams. Politoed probably is better than Pelipper in this situation. Dragonite actually makes a pretty good swap with having a 4 times resist to grass and being neutral to electric. And with that, I also do think then Dragonite also has great options if you're going to run a rain team to just run Hurricane Thunder. Now you have two moves with 100% accuracy that have 110 base power each. And then in the same vein, we can then go for Draco Meteor, which is 130 base power. And this is where I really like Mega Dragonite, is we can still run extreme speed. Like I even acted a little bit like attack drop was a little detrimental, but honestly 124 attack even with minimal investment is still very, very powerful. If you say you use a Draco Meteor and you have -2 special attack and you don't quite get the KO, now you have extreme speed to follow up and you don't have to worry about your speed. Because I would say that's probably the one thing holding Mega Dragonite back is that 100 speed. It's all right, but what we've seen from the Scarlet Violet VGC scene is a lot lot of teams had to require extreme speed or even scale shot. Scale shot got a huge bump in use, and that was because it would boost your speed and give you that option above. I think this option of running Hurricane Thunder or Draco Meteor with extreme speed as your cleanup move inside the shell of a rain team, this is going to be scary. I don't see how it can't be scary. The bulk is there, the offense is there, you have priority spam on top of that, you have guaranteed hits, you have great stab moves. Yeah, it's an all-around win for me on Mega Dragonite, and that is why it makes this list. And let's move on to number 4, which is Mega Excadrill. Now, Mega Excadrill, instead of getting a full retool like Mega Dragonite got, actually just got everything it already did way better. We got a plus 30 to attack, so we're going from 135 to an astounding 165. We actually had a huge bulk increase with plus 40 to defense to give it some actual sustain in battle. Adding that with its 110 HP is a serious issue. And then it also got a plus 25 to speed, setting it at 103. I do think that plus 25 is actually pretty indicative of what kind of ability we're going to see for Excadrill. I guarantee that Sand Rush goes away. I don't think there's any way in this world that they give that big of a boost to speed and let it keep its ×2 speed boost. So we're going to definitely see a new ability besides Sand Rush. But I actually don't hate that, and that's because now you can run Excadrill almost 2 ways in the same game. Like if you have it on a sand team, you can have Tyranitar next to it, and then once Tyranitar sets Sandstream, you can have base Excadrill, then have Sand Rush, and you can attack still with a 135 power. But then say you want to run a team that's more of a hybrid, not fully dedicated to Tyranitar, now you can actually Mega Excadrill, take advantage of that 165 boost, take advantage of that extra speed, and this is actually a great speed for Tailwind too. So I think Excadrill now has almost 2 modes where you can have it be within sand to get that Sand Rush, be faster than everything on the field, or you can remove the sand from it entirely, maybe run it next to something like Tornadus or something like Whimsicott, get that Tailwind boost, and then go for the Mega Excadrill. Then don't have to worry about the sand chip on either of these Pokemon, so you can actually run Focus Sash on one of these Pokemon if you need to. And now you can just punish with a huge monster hit with a great speed stat and some pretty serious bulk, all things considered. Now this is probably going to be more of a singles strategy, but it does actually, if you've seen I've had this typed in the whole time, I don't know why I didn't get rid of it, but I actually have Rapid Spin already in the moveset, and this is usually meant to clear off like Spikes or Stealth Rock or Leech Seed, stuff like that, hazards on the field, but it also does give you a +1 base speed. And Excadrill with that 103 hitting, without any investment, hitting 123, getting a 1.5 times to that gets it to what, like a 185, 184, something like that, which is a crazy speed stat and actually makes it operate fairly well on its own and without needing any kind of extra boost outside of that. And then you can just go with classic moves like Earthquake, Iron Head, Protect, and now you have just like such a strong Pokemon that can just operate kind of however you need it to. And then instead, if you just want to run Swords Dance, I mean, if you're frisky enough to get a Swords Dance off, you're gonna just be hitting with almost dang near 400 attack, especially after you already invest. Like say we're just gonna go 252, and let's go ahead and make this bad boy adamant. Yeah, you multiply the 238 by 2, we are hitting at almost 500 attack power from just one setup move. There's gonna be almost no Pokemon that can survive that, even if they resist, and that's just gonna be a powerhouse. I'm very excited for Mega Excadrill, but not as excited as I am for number 3 on our list, which goes to Mega Chesnaught. Now, Mega Chesnaught, talk about a glow up. Talk about it, be about it. 172 defense. This is absurd. For context of what 172 defense means for Mega Chesnaught, if you give it a relaxed nature and you give, so that's a plus defense, it hits 211. Guess what else hits 211 with a plus defense and 252 defense EVs invested? Zamazenta Crowned. These Pokemon have the same defense stat with Chesnaught not even having to invest anything. Granted, I understand Dauntless Shield gives Zamazenta another 1.5 boost on top of that, But it's important to see the scale of how bulky this Pokemon really truly is, and I just am so impressed by it. And then if you thought that was enough, if you go even further, it has a physical attack stat of 137, which is actually higher than base Dragonite's attack stat. It also has 115 special defense, which is huge still, and most importantly, I think above all, is that 44 speed. I really want to contextualize this speed stat so that we can all really understand what this truly means, and I'm going to use a very common core that we saw in VGC for a Trick Room core, which was Ursaluna and Porygon 2. Now this team liked to sit back, have a lot of damage sponge thanks to Eviolite on Porygon 2, and then you'd rely on Guts with Flame Orb from Ursaluna to deal a lot of damage. But now, thanks to Chesnaught, it has a lower speed actually with 44 than both Ursaluna and Porygon 2. Not only that, but Body Press actually hits both of these Pokemon for super effective damage, so it's basically like a counter to this core completely, which is unbelievable. And before you think this Pokemon's only going to get used in Trick Room, there is a tricky little move that it can learn, which is Grassy Glide. Slap this thing next to a Rillaboom, and now you have a priority striker with a boosted grass move and a 137 attack stat. Chesnaught is no joke. Slow mode, fast mode, it does not matter. And on top of all of this, it still has access to Wide Guard, it still has access to Spiky Shield, so it's not like it's without options to support your team as well as dealing damage. And then going even further, obviously it has a really bad flying type weakness and a really bad weakness to Psychic, but it gets knockoff and it gets Thunder Punch, so it has the coverage moves it needs to actually thrive against its counters. And you could even go for the slow Leech Seed mode if you want to just bulk it out and go crazy on the high defense, high HP, and just sit there, sponge, and recover. There's just really so much that Chesnaught can do, and Chesnaught was already a proven commodity inside of the restricted format in Scarlet and Violet, so I think this edition of a Mega Evolution that just capitalizes on everything that made it great makes this Pokemon even better. I'm very excited to use Mega Chesnaught. I think it's going to be a staple Pokemon for years to come. There's just a lot of good here, but not as good as our number 2 pick. At number 2, I have Mega Delphox. This one was probably my favorite Pokemon that got a serious glow up. I am so happy. It deserved every bit of this. Just for a little recap, it got a plus 45 to special attack, plus 25 to special defense, and plus 30 to speed. That gives it a whopping 159 special attack, 125 special defense, and 134 speed. And why this is so important is because even though we've seen other Pokemon like Chandelure and Mega Gengar that actually have a higher special attack stat than Delphox, the biggest thing is that Delphox has access to Expanding Force. So now if you put this next to like Indeedee Female, I think is probably the better option here. We can run the move Expanding Force to full potential. This then turns Expanding Force into a spread move and gives it a boost because of Psychic Terrain. And I think the best part of this combo when you add Indeedee Female to the party, when we're adding Indeedee Female to the party, importantly, it's a normal type, and the speed stat that Mega Delphox was gifted is 134, which is honestly kind of a stinker considering we just got Fluttermane and Chien-Pao at 135 base speed. So now no matter what, Delphox will always be slower than those two Pokemon. But Indeedee patches that up very quickly because now you can just Follow Me and Fluttermane can't use Shadow Ball anymore. You can use Follow Me, and Chien-Pao is going to have to waste a turn either using Ice Spinner to try to get rid of Psychic Terrain or trying to use Crunch into the Indeedee slot, which just buys Delphox plenty of time. And on top of that, Delphox doesn't even really care about dark types, which would normally be the hard counter for Expanding Force, because it gets a beautiful move called Dazzling Gleam, which is a spread fairy move. So Pokemon like Chien-Pao, sorry buddy, you're still out of luck. You do not stack up well against this Pokemon. It feels like they really made it like a I can't believe it's not Shadow Rider Calyrex kind of build. Like if you look at these Pokemon next to each other, like 165 special attack is what Shadow Rider has, 159 is not far off of that. And like the stat that build behind that, like 150 speed is obviously a clear difference, and Delphox will have a hard time going into Astral Barrage for that reason. Their bulk is nearly identical, and their offense is nearly identical, with only their speed really being different. So we pretty much got like Zero Sugar Shadow Rider Calyrex in Delphox Mega. So this is gonna be something that I think you're gonna see it everywhere. I think it's gonna hit everything, and trying to get around Follow Me and DD is gonna be so gross. And this is why it's number 2. But there is one Pokemon. It's just not even close. It's silly that they even designed this Pokemon. But let's get right into our number 1 final slot. You guys might have guessed it. It is Mega Malamar. Are you kidding me? No, just kidding. Number 1 is Mega Zygarde Complete Form. Where do you even start with this Pokemon? 216 HP and 216 special attack? If I were to ask you, which of these Pokemon has a higher special attack stat? Deoxys with a plus 252 EV investment into special attack and a modest nature with a base special attack of 180 versus Zygarde with only a modest nature and 0 investment into its special attack. Which one do you think is higher? Because I'm here to tell you that it's Zygarde by 4 points. That is just disgusting. And then once you just go ahead and take this slider all the way up to the top, we are looking at 294. That clears Deoxys' special attack by almost 50 points. And to make things even worse, the Game Freak gods in their ultimate wisdom decided that maybe Mega Zygarde needs a new signature attack, and let's go ahead and make it a 200 base power dragon special type move with the added effect that it can hit fairy types for neutral, ignoring the immunity that fairy types have against this move. I think it's so gross. Now, with all this in mind about Mega Zygarde, I actually wanted to take it one more step further. I was asked the question about now who wins, Mega Zygarde or Xerneas? So for this Zygarde build, I went for a max HP and max special attack, and for Xerneas, just to see all angles, I gave it max HP, max special attack, and max special defense, just so we could see at its utmost extreme how much is Mega Zygarde doing to a Xerneas. And it is disgusting. It has a 68.8% chance with no offensive boosts to one-shot a max special defense and max HP Xerneas with Nihilite. And then on the other side, Xerneas only does 56.3% damage to Zygarde with Moonblast. But now let's go ahead and suppose that Xerneas does get Geomancy up, so that'll give it a +2 to special attack. Now in this instance, pretty much they're hitting at the same power between 94.7 to 112 versus 94.4 to 112. So it's kind of be a who strikes first, because Moonblast after Geomancy certainly knocks out a Mega Zygarde, especially if it has to be damaged before it can Mega Evolve in the first place. But Zygarde has the agency because Xerneas has to spend a turn to set up Geomancy for this situation to even occur at all. So my money, I think it's on Mega Zygarde to win this interaction now. I think Mega Zygarde, because it doesn't have to spend a turn setting up, if it's already Mega Evolved, Xerneas is looking down the barrel of a Nihilite that's gonna potentially knock it out with almost a 3/4 chance. And even if this Pokemon requires to be hit, like say it's a regular Zygarde, and it requires to get hit for 50% HP to then transform into Zygarde Complete and then Mega Evolve after that, it doesn't really even matter because we have Pokemon like Sinistcha or Comfey that can just heal it back up to full the next turn. So if you're able to just like manage one turn while you're getting the Mega Up, it almost feels like it's lights out for your opponent and there's nothing that anybody can really do against you. There just isn't really any way to wall this Pokemon. Mega Zygarde Complete Form is just going to be an unstoppable force, I think even greater than any of the other ones we've seen before like Miraidon or Shadow Rider Calyrex. Like this is a new breed. The power creep has gotten that much higher and we are just entering a new era of how overpowered can each Pokemon get. Well, there you have it. Mega Zygarde is our big winner, and I don't actually think it's particularly close to any of the other Pokemon I put on this list. Zygarde is just demonstrably powerful compared to the rest of its competitors and got such an edge with Nihilite that we are going to see this Pokemon a lot once the restricted formats come. But let me know in the comments if you think I got this list right, or if you think there was options that I missed on. And if you liked this video, please be sure to hype, like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps this channel out a lot. We've been growing a lot recently, and I just want to keep giving you guys the videos you enjoy. I'm going to start diving into each Mega Evolution pretty specifically now, so I hope you stay tuned and I hope you're ready for it. And we will see you all next time.